Hey, man.
How's it going?
How's Shyp going?
Very good, very good.
So I know this is founder stories, but I'm weird and like to talk about how things work behind the scenes rather than people. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was APIs and how startups figure out which parts of the stack to make in, which to kind of just bring in and quickly get things going and just get the product out the door. So in your guys' space, there's APIs and white label things out there for routing packages and drivers, for figuring out rates for postage and working with UPS to get the best rates and handle all of that stuff. How did you guys decide which things to quickly bring in and just get Shyp up and running, and which to make yourself? What parts of the stack to own?
I think for us it was just around the user experience, and we evaluated all the things that we should do ourselves and the things that we could outsource, and we would bring it in-house when we couldn't guarantee the level of user experience that we wanted. So a good example is the actual drivers. Like at that point, there were other options that we could have used. We could have looked to use other courier companies or that type of thing to actually come pick up the item, bring it back to our warehouse. But we decided it's just so important for the overall experience that we had to control all of it. We're a little different. Like, we're not a traditional, like, we'll just drop off items at your home and take off. We're coming into your home, and you need to be comfortable handing us anything. Like, it could be just an iPad with no packaging or anything. We need to instill that level of trust. And also, our system is that we put things in bags and scan them, and we have our own app. So we just couldn't guarantee the level of quality that we really wanted to provide. So we're like, let's bring this in-house. And then just built that in and got really good at that over time. But I think, like, for us, like, it's just around if we could outsource something and we're able to get the level of quality that we want, we will. Eventually, I think, like, as you become a really large company, you look to bring almost everything in-house, though.
Okay. So one of the things, going back to last December, you guys worked with Banana Republic to kind of manage their returns and shipping in a couple of cities, or a couple locations in New York, I think it was. And a couple months ago, you implemented returns in the app as a feature.
Yeah.
You can enter your return code from Amazon or a couple other retailers, and it'll like automatically have the return label, and you guys just handle all of that.
Yeah.
So what I think is interesting about that is that over time, you look at things like Warby Parker or Zappos, and making things easier to return means you're more likely to get a bunch of things and like try out several options and then send most of them back. How do you get from having that, like, oh, it's simpler to do returns to everyone thinks to use you for that?
Yeah, that was actually a decision that we made consciously when we were evaluating building a returns product. Like, the reason we actually built it is because people were already using us to do the returns. They would actually, if you had an Amazon return, you'd go to Amazon.com, initiate the return, you'd print out a prepaid label, and then you'd open the Shyp app, enter in the Amazon's warehouse location, and hand us a prepaid label. We did not design the initial app for that. But we're like, wow, this is actually like a meaningful amount of volume. At that time, it was like 10% of it, nothing we advertised or anything like that. And we're like, okay, let's actually build it. But we made the conscious decision to try to market ourselves to a consumer to provide all your returns and not just one. Like, we could have went really deep with a single retailer and had like a very integrated returns flow with maybe like an automatic refund or something like that, which would have taken a long time, of course, to deal with other companies. But instead, we decided to go and try to provide the service for as many retailers as possible and not have as deep of integration, but be known to customers to be like, you could ship anything with us, and also we'll handle all of your returns for you as well.
So, if you guys end up being like the standard for returns, and it ends up leading to like broader e-commerce in general, UPS, they ship 18 million packages a day in 2014. 2.4 million of them were shipped over planes. Are you guys going to be responsible for a huge increase in the amount of cardboard and jet fuel used for e-commerce?
Well, of course, we hope to expand the market. And I think e-commerce specifically, like when you're looking at returns, like if you're returning more, you're buying more things. And so I think it is really exciting to do that. There's a lot of interesting things that we could do down the line that maybe we aren't relied on cardboard as much. There's a lot of things that when we are actually owning the customer experience, we could look at different ways of doing things. Today, we of course need to deal with like our partners, which are UPS, FedEx, and you need to use a cardboard box and everything. But because we actually own the customer, there's some interesting things that we could do down the line.
Yeah. So. Pretty quickly you became, you are CEO, but you became like the public face of Shyp. I don't, really see anyone else really crop up in interviews. Where are your co-founders at? Jack and Josh kind of haven't been in the public space. Haven't seen Josh around the office when I visited. What's up with that?
So both Jack and Josh aren't with the company anymore. So Josh parted ways about a few months ago, and he's actually off traveling now. So.
Okay. Any reason for that?
It's just like, as you grow as a company, there's just the company's different things, people have different interests and everything, and these things just change. But it was great, like early on, like Josh was the person responsible for all of the user experience, built the initial brand and everything, and he was great.
I mean, like in a year, you guys have quickly ramped up. It looks like I don't want to like place bets because I don't have the money to, but. It looks like you guys could be a unicorn one day. Like, that's a lot of money to leave on the table.
Yeah, I absolutely hope we.
That's why you're still here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, something that you and I have kind of debated a little bit off the record is, whether you guys are an on-demand company or not. I, just kind of casually say it, and you're like, yeah. So, where do you disagree with that statement?
I think for us, like we are. I see us as a logistics company. And I think we definitely do have an on-demand component, but I think it actually sells us a little short as far as the overall service that we provide. We have warehouses in every single city. We have people dedicated there that are employees inside our warehouses that will package everything. And the overall service, it is a really complicated service, and I would want to compare us more to like the UPSs and the FedEx of the world than a lot of the other on-demand companies in the space.
See, I want to push back on that a little bit, though, because I think of logistics companies, and I think of Amazon, where they place their warehouses down to the mile to optimize package shipments between airports and where their final destinations go. And you look at UPS, where their driver route optimization platform, it's like, oh, well, we cut out all left turns because every mile of driving that we saves us $50 million a year in fuel. I look at you guys, and I see bike and car couriers kind of rounding up in local neighborhoods, and then they go to vans, and then vans bring stuff to warehouses, and then UPS handles the rest.
Yep.
Like, are you guys posturing a bit? I mean,
well, like we do. Like, this is the whole. I think the initial question is like, what portions of your business do you really outsource? And yeah, absolutely. Today we're not doing any of the package delivery at all. But I think like the overall service that we do provide, I would like from a consumer standpoint, like I would consider us to be very similar to like a UPS or FedEx.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, like UPS, it's like, oh, I have to go to the store with that. The actual user experience of Shyp is, I take a picture of this thing, and someone comes to me in 20 minutes. Like, how is that not like an on-demand service?
It is. It definitely is, and I think that we absolutely do have an on-demand component. But I think that it's just that our service really is much more than that, like the overall experience. Of course, like when you take a picture, press a button, we'll come and take your item away. Like that definitely is like the on-demand component of that service. But I think that we are much more of a logistics service, like overall, if you look at the entire end-to-end experience.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep pushing on this just because, again, I love talking about process. I'm so weird. You look at Uber, they went from, oh, it's like a replacement for cabs, and then, no, we are a logistics company. And you look and, okay, so first the algorithms are, oh, we can route drivers to pick up someone and then drop them off at any arbitrary point. And now with Uber Pool, it's, okay, now we can pick up people along the route. And it's easy to see how that could one day evolve into moving into spaces like Postmates, but also moving into your area. And like their valuation kind of reflects being a logistics company. Does your guys' product or user experience have to evolve to live up to that label?
I think, like we're always looking to push every single aspect of our business. Like looking to, like we have a lot of things planned the next like year or two that we'll be able to, hopefully, if you don't think we've earned that title, to hopefully earn it. And we'll get better and better at those type of things. I think that the actual process, like it definitely seems quite simple, but it really is complicated. I know you've seen a look at the warehouse and everything, and even since those early days, it's completely like been transformed. And in the actual warehousing, like a lot of automation, and then we'll continue to go down that path even more and more. And I want to really push the balance, like even the warehousing side of things. Like this is not something that has really been innovated on. Even if you look at Amazon and UPS, like their technology is really, really old. And you may seem like from the customer standpoint, because you don't really know a lot about what their actual systems or how they actually look, but it's really old technology, and we're looking to push everything. Like we're looking to use like 3D scanners, and we'll look to create custom boxes and completely automate as much of the process as we can to reduce our costs, but also just increase our throughput and efficiency and all of those things. But we still are like really, really early days. But the thing for us, and really important for me, is to continue innovating on the warehousing side of things, the actual transportation of the items between people, the pickup within a city. We want to get deeper in all of those things.
So courier services might be something you move into?
Yeah, it's definitely something natural that we could move into. And the reason actually like we haven't is just because the delivery is just so difficult. Like a traditional courier service will be used like usually for business to business. But for us, like you could send anything anywhere, and we have a lot of times that you'll be sending maybe a gift to your friend that's a consumer that lives in a residential address, and how do you make that delivery? Because we don't know if they're going to be home, and that's actually really expensive to do, and that's the reason we haven't actually done that. And luckily, the partners that we use, they have a system. It's not great. It includes the little ransom notes that you get on your door, and they'll try to come and deliver it 3 times and then return to sender. But it does work, so we'll continue using that. But it's definitely something we'll look into doing.
So usually I hate this kind of question, like what if Google tried to do what you do? But you look at Amazon moving into local services, and they're also rolling out warehouses for same-day delivery. What if they decide to one day flip a switch and say, well, what if this warehouse was working both ways? What if we were not just trying to get product in people's hands quickly, but also like maybe get packages back, and like we're already close to airports, we can handle this too.
You mean as far as the returns
go?
I think absolutely they could. I think the really great thing for us as a business is that there are so many other companies out there. And Amazon, while they definitely are the market leader in e-commerce, they're still so small if you look at the overall pie of things. So there always will be other companies that, of course, will not do that type of thing, and we'll be able to provide a service for them. But more importantly, like what we're aimed at today is providing a service to consumers, and there really aren't a lot of other options for them.
Right. Now, you guys recently raised a whole bunch of money, $50 million. So far you had significantly less capital than that and launched in 4 cities.
Yeah.
How many are you planning to launch in 2015?
Yeah, so we're still figuring that out right now, and we're just getting ready to launch LA. And the plan that we do, we initially planned a whole bunch of city launches and one after another, but then we just learned so much from the actual the launches that it informed our plan. So now we actually look to go to our next city after we are launched or almost all the way launched. So we don't have this big long list. I'd love to be able to share it if I could. And it's really we just take the learnings that we have from all the cities and look to use them for future city launches.
I mean, are we going to start seeing oh, well, now you've been launching one by one every few months. Are you going to say, this summer, is it going to be, oh, well, now we're in 5 extra cities? Or, how is it going to ramp up?
It definitely will ramp up. The time between city launches will compress. We're a little different than a lot of the other on-demand services. We have a lot more physical infrastructure. We have a warehouse in every single city. We employ people and all of those things. So to get that set up is a little bit more work. So we're not going to launch cities as quickly. I hope that definitely will change and we'll get the process down. So we will be able to launch as fast as Uber is. But there definitely is a lot more physical infrastructure that we have.
Yeah, and again, in the on-demand space, whether you think you guys are in that or not, one of the most frequent ways that these companies recruit is via Craigslist, and I know that you guys do too.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys will have to move away from in order to ramp that up, or no?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if it's taking so long, you only have 100 drivers across your 4 markets. if you are going to go into like 5 new cities at once, is Craigslist still going to be it, and you just need to like hire a bunch of people to go on Craigslist for you, or do you maybe need to come up with a new process, and that's part of the stack you need to rebuild?
Yeah, the hiring of people in a city, I definitely wouldn't say that's the biggest bottleneck. I would say that everything working together, like including the warehousing and everything, that just takes a little extra time. Craigslist actually is really good. We've tried, which I'm sure a lot of the other companies have tried, all these other channels as well, and it brings still a lot of people into the platform. I don't see that going away from our strategy when we're launching new cities.
Yeah, one of the things, I signed up as a Lyft driver to try and make some extra money. I gave 2 rides and then never did it again because,
Why is that?
I'm tired at the end of the day. I don't feel like driving around anymore. So is churn an issue for you guys? Do you have to keep recruiting more, or?
It's actually been really good. Our churn is extremely low. And I think a few things. So our service, just the nature of it, if people choose, if they want to work longer hours, we can actually provide that. We don't have the really big peaks and valleys like a lot of the other on-demand services are. Like you think of like food delivery, there's like 2 huge peaks, maybe 3 if you consider breakfast, that you have to staff up to that. So you're just not, like a lot of your workers aren't able to actually get very long hours, where with us, just the nature of shipping, we have people using it all throughout the day, and it's actually quite level. So that in itself is really good. But we're different than everybody else. Like people that maybe don't like, maybe yourself, didn't want somebody inside your car. Like you don't have to have somebody in your car. You're dealing with items. People are really excited when you show up at their door. Like you've now taken a process that's been like 1 to 2 hours and reduced it to a few minutes. People, especially your first-time users, like they're really excited, and like as a driver, that's really exciting to you as well. And just the nature of our business and our business model, we're able to pay a little bit more just because we make money on the margins off the shipping rates, and those tend to be quite high. So we could offer the actual pay to be higher. So I think a lot of those combinations, and we just treat our people really good. And I think like from my personal standpoint, it's our only physical touch point. So we need to do everything that we can to make sure that they're really happy, because that's going to rub off on our customers, and then that's going to hopefully add to the entire overall experience.
Given the relatively small number of drivers you have, again, 100 across 4 markets, do you think that you guys could kind of preempt some of the controversy over contract work in the on-demand space by maybe just making them full-time employees? I mean, you would have set hours of 8 to 8.
Yeah.
It seems like making them just actually part of the team is something you could do.
Yeah, and this is something that we continue to look at and to figure out what's best for our business and our drivers, and something that we'll continue to evaluate. But yeah, just the nature of us, especially being able to provide longer shifts, I definitely think that we're better positioned to potentially do that.
Looking forward, CEOs that run unicorns tend to get lovey-dovey profiles in Inc. and Entrepreneur and Fortune. So I assume those are going to keep coming up for you. What are we going to find out about you? Like, what are your crazy hobbies? Like, do you want us to go to the moon, Mars?
Not right now, but maybe. I don't know. I don't have too many crazy hobbies. I actually just took up kiteboarding, which is pretty awesome.
Okay.
I'm a Canadian, so I'm a hockey player as well. A lot of those things. I'm definitely addicted to work.
Where do you play hockey in San Francisco?
It's extremely hard to find. It's right now not a team, but I've always played that all my life.
Are your coworkers afraid to play hockey with you? Like, with you?
Nobody, none of my coworkers play hockey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, just really, I would definitely say addicted to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of sad. What do you do in your free time? Like, when do you make time for yourself? What do you do?
Hang out with friends. I just recently got married.
That takes a lot of time.
A lot of those type of things. Try to get away sometimes when we can. Definitely, like it's seems backwards, but the last 6 months or so, my work-life balance has definitely been a lot better than it has previously.
Okay.
And then just because I've been trying to do that, and it actually, you're able to reflect a lot, and actually, for me, able to get a lot more ideas on things that we maybe should do when you're on your downtime and all that. You're not just focused on work, and that's been really, really good. But it seems backwards that you as the company grows, you'd probably spend more time, but it's kind of been the opposite for me.
Okay. Well, Looks like we're about out of time, so I'll let you get back to work, I guess.
Great, thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Take this water.